Recording. All right, we're recording. Hi, welcome. This is Susan Teton, and welcome to my Seed to Soul speaker series, my podcast series, which is really focused on aging with vitality. I had so much fun yesterday looking up words in the dictionary and what vitality really means. And it is a noun. I just was like, always thought of it as more of a verb in a way. But anyway, vitality is what we really want to press into every little part of our lives. So I want to welcome Allyson Stillman. And I guess everyone can see you already, Allyson?
Yes, they should be able to.
Yeah, does she have a smile or what? Yeah. So Allyson is this incredible woman that I met several years ago. And she has an incredible background. I'll let her tell you a little bit more, but she's an expert on essential oils. She wrote some of the very first books on essential oils, and she's a master at the art of anointing. And I call it an art because it comes from such a deep place, and it's so expressive and yet so historical. I mean, there's so much to anointing that I've been really reading about lately. But what we're going to focus on today is NewuLife, which is a growth hormone that I'm going to let Allyson tell you all about. And I want her to tell you just a little bit more about herself, because I was telling her before we got on the call that when Allyson speaks, I listen. And when she says something's really good, I know she's done the research. And that's the way that I do a lot of my work, is I go with people I really, really trust. So hi, Allyson.
Hi, thank you so much for having me be a part of this. I'm really excited to just share. So I'll just give you the brief overview of my background. I've been studying aromatherapy and the use of sacred aromatics for about 45 years, which really tells you that I'm not a spring chicken, but I feel like it because I'm always looking for tools that will actually help us become more supernatural. And I say that, my latest mentor is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's written a book called Becoming Supernatural. And a lot of the work that I have done with him really leads me into owning that within myself. And I believe that we're all supernatural and that we're capable of incredible things. And we don't use the majority of our brain that has all those supernatural powers. Right. And so my background has always been about health and wellness, obviously working with essential oils. And I discovered anointing, this ancient rite of passage work, about 35 years ago. And it's based on the work that was done in the temples of Egypt thousands of years ago. And it led me on this incredible path of exploring all health and wellness. And so I've always looked at new things that come along as a tool to help us move into optimal health and wellness. And about, I guess it'll be 2 years in April, I had gone through my first intensive with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I had a massive biological upgrade. That's what he calls it. And it took me about 2.5 months to go through this upgrade. And
the dog is barking, but keep going.
Yeah, because your pump's excited about what we're talking about. And actually, all dogs know the secret to youth and vitality because they're in the present moment. And they're good teachers for that. And they're also incredible vehicles for unconditional love. So I just want to give some credit to your sweet dog. Yes. So anyway, I came out of this biological upgrade and
upgraded.
And I was in a lot of different ways. But what was interesting was I felt like I had a whole new life that was unfolding. And I, without going into too much detail, everything in my body changed with this upgrade, including my eyes. And I had a visit with a really good friend of mine who's a doctor of internal medicine. And it was the first time after 2 months of this upgrade that I had seen her. And she looked at me and she goes, everything about you is different. Even your eyes have changed. And I said, I know, I have this brand new life. I mean, everything is different. And about a week later, a good friend of mine called me up and said, hey, I want to tell you about a product I just discovered. Somebody just turned me on to. Actually, a very well-known herbalist had called her up about this. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, it's a homeopathic human growth hormone gel. And everything in my body was like, oh, give it to me. I want it.
Yeah, really.
And I said, sign me up. I want it. And she goes, well, don't you want me to send you something, or do you want to read about it? And I said, no, my body is such a strong yes.
Right.
And the name of the company that produces this gel is called NewuLife. And it was such
I didn't know the story. Yeah.
Of here I am, I'm starting this whole new phase of my new life and on a physical level. And this company called NewuLife shows up with a homeopathic human growth hormone gel. And one of the exciting things about it was I've used homeopathy for 30 years, and I believe it's a very, very powerful tool for health and wellness. And so everything resonated about it. And I've been reading a lot about human growth hormone. It's kind of the it thing in the athletic world, as well as Hollywood. Everyone gets the HGH injections, and there's a ton of research done about HGH. So HGH is the mother hormone, or the master hormone.
Master, right.
Yeah, and it's produced by the pituitary gland. And it's responsible for every other endocrine function in your body. So all of the other hormones that are produced are inspired by HGH. And we are prolific producers of it from the time we're born until about 25. And then it just starts steady decline down. And I was living at the effect of quite a lot of that at my age and stage. And I wasn't willing to go do the injections because one, they're about $2,000 to $3,000 a month.
Right.
And there can be side effects. You have to be monitored and blood work all the time and under the direction of a doctor. And I don't go there. That's just not my thing. Will I take a supplement and homeopathic and oil? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I first started it, and I really didn't know what to expect or what was going to happen. But when I started it, I was having pretty strong hot flashes, and I wasn't sleeping very good. I was waking up 4 or 5 times a night, and I probably had 6 to 8 to 10 hot flashes a day and into the night.
Wow.
And I wasn't, I didn't, like I said, didn't know what to expect.
Had you been having hot flashes?
For a while.
You had. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in menopause for about 11 years, 12 years.
Wow.
So, and then not sleeping really well, I'd take a lot of melatonin or whatever it was to help me get through the night. And even then I'd still wake up, 4 or 5 times a night at least. And so about 3 days in, I stopped having hot flashes, and I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And what was really great about that is that, well, of course, not, waking up in a sweat every night and having this all day long, but it just kind of happened quite suddenly. And I realized, oh, wow, I haven't had a hot flash today. And then another really interesting thing, this was what really sold me on it. I have a really good friend who came to visit at about that same time. And he's 70 years old. He's a brilliant, brilliant jeweler. And I've known him my whole life. And he came to visit, and I was living up in Northern California at the time. And we decided we were going to go canoeing down the Russian River. It was the middle of summer. And it was a Saturday. Do not ever go down the Russian River on a Saturday. But we thought, oh, we're just going to take this meander down the river and it'll be easy. We'll float down the river. It was a 10-mile stretch.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, there were thousands of people on the river.
Wow.
Thousands. And we paddled like demons the entire 10 miles to avoid hitting people in the water or boats.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Because there's all these flotillas of people. And
probably beer drinking, barbecuing fools too.
Exactly. So by the time we got to the end of the river, I could barely lift my arms. They hurt. My shoulders hurt so bad because I don't paddle all the time.
Right. Yeah.
The weekend warrior thing. And my friend Doug, I didn't know this at the time, has pretty severe arthritis, and his knees froze up on him and he couldn't get out of the canoe.
Oh.
I managed to get it onto the shore, and then I helped him get out of the canoe. And we hobbled him to the bus to take us back to the car. We went home. We did gel that morning. We did gel that night. And the next morning, I woke up and I was in the kitchen making some tea, and he came out of the guest room, and he came into the kitchen and he stood on one leg and pulled his knee up to his chest. And I'm looking at him going, he must do yoga. He's got good balance, right? I didn't even think anything about it.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, that's cool. Have you been doing yoga? And he goes, no. You don't understand. And then he takes his little finger and he puts it to his thumb. Now, he's a master jeweler. He uses his hands.
Right.
And he goes, I have not been able to do this for 5 years. And I go, what do you mean?
That's one day on the gel?
3 applications.
Wow.
Now, he's a super sensitive guy, very, very in tune. So, I have somebody at my door. I'm going to ignore that.
All right. Well, you can jump up if you need to check.
No, that's okay. I'll keep going.
Okay.
So anyway, he's a super sensitive guy. And then he goes, well, you don't understand. He said, I have such severe arthritis that I have not been able to do that for 5 years. I have to take painkillers every single day to be able to go to work.
Wow.
For the first time in 20 years, I have no pain in my body. And I'm like,
wow.
What? So to witness that, I went, okay, this is a game changer. This product is going to change people's lives. And so I've shared it with a lot of people and I've seen incredible results. But then for me personally, about 3 weeks in, 2 to 3 weeks in, I started sleeping every night, 8 to 9 hours a night. Now that hadn't happened for a long time. And then I started noticing, during that conversation with him, then I noticed, wow, my shoulders aren't sore. And I had all this pain in my shoulders, but it had disappeared overnight. I totally recovered from my extraneous workout.
Yeah.
And so I have tested that quite a few times, doing different really hard workouts. And I recover fine the next day with this gel. And that's why athletes are so fond of it, because it really increases their ability to recover from workouts, but it also helps increase muscle mass, strength, endurance, and just your overall energy. So that's been my experience with it. And I've had a lot of other things that, I've experimented with and played with, and I've gone off of it and had dramatic results. And I'm like, okay, I am on this because I want to do something naturally that's going to turn my body around. And one of the things that I love so much about this too is that I see this as a tool to take us into our supernatural ability.
Right.
And what I mean by that is when you start to see evidence that your body actually can reverse the aging process, then you know it's possible. And once you know it's possible, we're going to move into a place where we can do that ourselves. We're not there yet. We're just starting to realize what's possible. But I love products and tools that can take us into that place. Right.
I love what you just said about we're not there yet, because I know my brother said this to me years ago when he was doing AA. you know, and he was in his youth and he had a young family and he and his wife were working on all their issues. And he said, you know, I'm not so sure that in my lifetime, I get to accomplish what I'm learning that I can accomplish. In other words, I don't really have the skills to pull this off yet, but I'm aware that I don't have the skills, or I'm aware. And I thought that was so brilliant because it takes a little pressure off of us. But I don't want to get off onto that because I just love what you said about having the tools to support us in the growth that much of us seek. And this is why I go so much into diet and food and say to age with vitality, because I want to encourage people to age on purpose. Like, let's not try to anti-age. I mean, right. Yes, let's do this the very best that we can and become an asset rather than a liability. We do not have to have dementia. We do not have to have cancer. Some of these things will come our way. But there is a lot we can do to support ourselves. And I think many of us are searching for that. And I just want to speak to myself. When I took the gel and still take the gel, I don't have any pain in my body anywhere. And I'm kind of marveling over that because so many of my friends have joint problems, lower back problems. And I do practice yoga very often, but I walk on the beach and I'm extremely active. I sleep really well, and I attribute me getting my energy back after I had shingles with the gel. Because I remember when you started taking me just a little bit at a time, and I started to sleep a lot better. I started to rest a lot better. And so it's been amazing for me as well. But I want you to speak to a couple of things, but you're ready to say something too, right?
No, go right
I just
ahead.
wanted to ask, because I was so impressed when I did research on the gel and I listened to all these YouTube videos and women saying they just dropped excess weight that they've been trying to drop over and over and over again. And they've been very prudent with their diets and their exercise program, and things just won't budge because their endocrine system is not balanced like it should be. And they start taking the gel and boom, all of a sudden the tight jeans aren't tight anymore, and stories like that. And bodybuilders that said, I'm going to do the research on this because I really want to know. And they're blown away by the results that they get. So it's not just women trying to get into their tight jeans. It's younger people, in their early 50s. And I'm very, very impressed also, and this is what I'd love you to speak to, is the risks associated with the injections. And that because this is homeopathy or homeopathic, it doesn't have to go through the liver or our organs. And so it's much safer. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest difference in this product compared to the injections is that the injectables are actually bombarding your body with human growth hormone. This gel, it's a homeopathic dose of somatropin, and somatropin is made up of 185 different amino acids. So what it's doing is it's going in and it's stimulating your pituitary to produce HGH on its own. So you're not supplanting or replacing HGH, you're encouraging it. The injections are replacing HGH. So your body's not getting turned back on again. You're just getting a bunch of hormones put into your body.
Right.
And one of the things that I love, I actually have a couple of doctors on my team in NewuLife, because it's a network marketed distributed product.
Right.
And I have a couple of doctors who've been looking for this solution for a long time. And they're doing a lot of blood work with their patients, and they've got a lot of patients. I have one who's an OBGYN, and she's got over 130 patients on this product now who've been on bioidentical hormones, thyroid medications, and she's doing all the blood work and monitoring, and she's rolling them back on their hormones. And so they don't need as many hormones, which is a great thing because it means your body is getting turned back on again, right? And you're producing hormones naturally as we're supposed to.
We totally want to get turned back on.
Yeah,
I mean, just the mood alone. I've noticed a huge change in the mood as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because shingles is extremely depressing, as most viruses are. But the level of depression, had I not known better, had I not done all the spiritual consciousness work I have done in my life, I would have, thought, okay, this is like not good. This is like, I just wanted to die, It's like, and it's so debilitating in depression, but I knew it wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
I knew that I would pass through this. So I just did that. And when I started taking the gel, all of that lifted, which provides the inspiration that a lot of us really need to become our vital selves.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's not easy.
The other thing too, is I just want to bring a bit of mention to this, is that we grow up in a very mass consciousness thought programming, right? And so we've been brought up to believe that you grow up, you get old, you get a disease, and you die, right? And so mass consciousness is in that thought train.
Correct.
And it's going to take a while for us to be able to get enough people to see, oh, but wait, it doesn't have to be that way. And I think this product is one of those tools that's going to get us to the mass belief system where we can just go, oh, wait a minute, I think I'll go back to 60 and just roll it back. Right? Or whatever the age is. We are capable of that. We haven't been trained, and there's not enough of us that believe that, but it is possible because we're doing it. You and I right now are doing it on this show. Right?
Yeah. Wow. I love that.
Yeah. So it's exciting. Those kinds of things really excite me, because that's when we use our full brain capacity to the extent that we can, we will indeed become supernatural, and we will do the miraculous. We can heal ourselves of cancer overnight. I've watched it in Dr. Joe's work. I've watched it in alternative healing. It is possible. Right? But mass consciousness and the medical system and the pharmaceutical industry and all the rest of it have a vested interest in us not knowing that.
When we were putting on the Y2K conference at the turn of the millennium there, I'll always remember this beautiful shaman man that lived in Alaska deep into the woods. And he said to me, the only way to get clear, because I was really seeking some clarity in my life. And he says, the only way to get really clear is to go way out in nature and remove yourself from this mass consciousness, because it's so penetrating and it's so busy. And especially if you're reading the news every day and you're believing everything you're reading and watching, it's like, that's why I shut it off, because I don't have, so I think the work that Dr. Joe is doing is incredible. I love the supernatural book. I love doing the meditations. And I find that I can forget so easily. So, well, let's tell everybody where they can get the gel.
Yeah.
And how much it cost. And I think that it's, I had my website brought up here of where to order it, but now it has disappeared from my phone and I don't know why. So let me look it up real quick here. But can you go ahead and just tell us how much it costs? And that there are opportunities too for people who are want to plunge in and go to work with this company as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I have a really full plate with everything that I do. I wasn't really looking for a business per se, but I know that everyone, the way to true wealth is through multiple streams of income. And so I do have a couple of network marketing businesses that I do on the side. But more than that, I'm interested in changing people's lives. That's what I do in my main gig. And so I have shared this with a lot of people, and it's brought a nice little stream of income for me. And so that is available to people. And what I find is that when you use the product and you start to see, like when I had that experience for myself and with my friend Doug, I was like, I want everyone to know about this,
right?
Because I want them to live the best life that they can live. And so it was really easy to share because I had had such a great experience with it. So, yeah, I was just going to say that, people usually start off just trying the product. And my personal belief is everyone should be on this product. I really believe that, especially now, not everyone, because as I said, from 0 to 25, you're producing lots of it. But as you 30 on, everyone needs to be on this product because we want to be in the healthiest, strongest, most vital body we can, right? So there's a couple of different ways. You can buy it retail. I never let friends buy retail because they spend so much more to buy it. I think it's $165 a bottle at retail. And if you just become what's called a loyal customer, which means that you get it shipped every month to you, it goes down to $140 a bottle. And so that's a significant savings. And you also get a free website that you can go in and say, you know what, I've still got some left over. I don't need it this month, but do yourself a favor and save the money and just sign up to get it on auto ship, and then just monitor it for, when you need to have it, you'll just order it. So.
Yeah, great. I just thought of another testimonial I wanted to share. And this was a gal that came to live with me. We have an extra suite over here that we rent out. And she was so sick. She's like in her mid-50s. She has, as we found out, she has lupus, but doctors have never been able to figure out. Her hair was falling out. She had itching all over her skin, and she was throwing up on me. It was like, they really worked on her with her diet. And the first thing I did was get her on the gel, and her hair quit falling out. Yeah, it just stopped like that. I mean, she was just like going, oh my God, look at my hair. And she had a beautiful head of hair. And so that was really cool because we didn't mention the hair.
That's thyroid, right?
Yeah. It was like, I remember when I was reading about it and I go, oh, you had me at hair. But I want to give my website for people that do want to order it, and also offer any kind of consultation if you want to contact me, and we'll talk about it more. So I'm going to give that, and then I would love you to tell them about the Facebook page.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you just go to, http://www, and then it's Susan Teton, all one word, SUSANTETON, and .NewuLife, and that's spelled NEW, and then just the letter U, and then life, LIFE.com. So it's Susan Teton .NewuLife.com.
Perfect.
And I'll be putting that on this blog post below too as well. And I highly suggest you check it out. And then Allyson will tell you about the Facebook page.
And then I would also recommend too that you reach out to Susan and have her invite you into a private Facebook group called the Gel Collective. Okay. And we have put together this Facebook group, and it's a private page, so you'll have to accept the invitation. But we've got doctor calls, we've got testimonials on this page, we've got ingredient listings on this page. There's a couple other products that the company's brought out for keto that are on that page. And everything that you could ever want to know about this gel, how it works, why it works, what people are experiencing, and the formulator does a call on this page, and you can learn a lot about the gel. And just go check it out on that page. Susan can add you if you want to learn more. Okay. It's a great resource for you.
Wow, it's very exciting. Yes.
Yeah,
it is. Very, very exciting. Especially for, I just get so excited.
Me too.
too. And Allyson, go ahead. And then I want you to tell them about your website and what you also offer.
Okay. So what I just also wanted to go back to again is that we're in a body, and if we're going to be here in a body, we really want to be at our optimum. We want to feel the best we can. We want to be full of vitality and radiance. And this is a one-of-a-kind product. I've never seen anything like it before.
Right.
And it's changing thousands of people's lives. And we've got a lot of doctors on board now because they're watching what's happening to their patients.
Yeah.
And it can really bring your body back into full vitality. So I just really, I encourage you to learn more and just give it a try, because it is a life-changing product. It has been for me. And I've been on the path of health and wellness for 45 years now. So, and for me to say, I've never seen a product like this. I mean, that, that says a lot, because I've tried a lot of things.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, we're into it. We know there's another way. And I'm so into food and diet and how we think about, our bodies and our future. And so Dr. Joe's work and learning how to really access the quantum field.
Yes.
Because, we used to say this to students in schools when we went in there. We said, none of us have lived tomorrow yet. None of us. And the only way that even Allyson and I are on this call is that we had an idea. We pursued the idea. I went to Zoom and it's because we made it happen. And so a lot of people are not really realizing that everything they do every day, they are making happen. Right. Because none of us have lived tomorrow yet. And so it's really that simple. So when you really try to encourage someone to create their future, they go, well, I can't create that because this is happening next week. Well, that's only because you got it in your book here, but you could change your book. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, we're just not aware, and we project that it's going to be this way. And so I think that bringing the awareness to ourselves with tools like NewuLife or with the gel, and working with our own mental capacities and our forward moving thoughts, that these all things work together. There's a synergy that's created, because something like the gel really gives you the opportunity to not get stuck. Right. To open to new ideas. And I think that's part of what we're really all doing.
Yeah. And I think that we need to be in the healthiest, strongest bodies we can, because we have a lot of environmental assault coming at us every single day. And so we need all of the tools
we do.
to keep us strong and healthy.
Where we have power is what we need to do. And this is why I'm so big on diet too, because, as an environmentalist and agriculture expert in that area, for me, I am making a choice about my entire earth every time I choose food. So everything we do affects our future, and we have to start thinking like that. What I do affects my island, everything I do. And when we start holistically thinking like that, then it's much easier to make decisions from that place. So I'm in love with the gel. I'm in love with you. You've always been such an incredible woman. Yeah, you always bring such wealth of knowledge. And I really want to interview you again. I would love to talk about anointing. And that's what I wanted you to just mention. We do have a few moments if people would like to go to your website.
Great. Thank you.
And learn what you do with your oils. Yeah.
Thank you. So my website is AllysonStillman.com, AllysonStillman. And you can learn all about the things that I do, the different sessions that I offer and retreats that I do. And I would love to come back and talk more about the anointing. That's really my main gig that I do. And I have clients from all over the world that come in for these rites of passage. It's what I wrote my book about, the sacred art of anointing. And I've been doing that for a long time. And I also have a coaching practice that I developed out of that work, so that the people that can't get to me can actually work with me online. So those are the two things. I also make essential oil blends. I don't have a lot of them. There's ones that have been called to actually come into production. So I have those available. My book's available, and you can find out a lot about me on AllysonStillman.com.
And definitely do that, listeners, because Allyson did this for me a couple of years ago, and I was really, having a tough time. And she took the time to really consult with me with what was going on and what I really wanted and how could I shift my own consciousness and my own state of being that I was in. And then she created an oil for me, sent the oil. And now when I sit in my meditation or I do my prayers or my projecting and whatever I'm doing, and I have that special oil, it is so special to anoint. It's just so special. So I definitely recommend that you check out our website. That's AllysonStillman.com. And I will also have it in the blog post below this video. And it reminds me of the book I just finished reading, is Mary Magdalene, The Chronicles of Mary Magdalene. Mm-hmm. Have you read that?
It's just interesting that you're saying that, because I've just in the last 2 months, I say, have really gotten into calling Mary Magdalene forth and working with her. And I have oracle cards and I'm doing affirmations to her. And I just feel so strongly that she wants to be working with us. You know, maybe it's this whole uprising of the divine feminine that's beginning to permeate the planet. And whether you're a man or a woman, we all have the divine feminine within us. And it's the longing to love. And to me, that's the epitome of what this divine feminine movement is. And Mother Mary, she embodies that completely. And so when we want to feel more love in our lives and more compassion and more unity, she's the one to call, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. You would love that book.
Yeah.
And there's this whole section right now on anointing and the sacredness of it. And I believe I've just started this part, but I believe that what they were saying is that it was kept very secret. It was so special, so sacred that other people weren't around. But that is one of the most profound books I've read in a long time. Yeah, I just love it. Yeah. In fact, I've got it all marked up and I can't wait to reread it.
Oh, that's great.
But, you know, I'm a junkie in that way. But it's just so full of love and beauty about the feminine and about Mary and some of the women in history that have taken a stand for love.
Yeah.
And really taken a stand in the most bizarre ways I had never read about. And completely transformed through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's time for all of us to take a stand for love. Yeah. We see so much of the opposite in the world right now, especially in this country. And we're the ones who are going to make that change. And we have to declare ourselves champions for love. We really do.
I think we've been a bit confused in the past.
Yes.
As Byron Katie would say, she goes, "Oh, they're not bad people. They're just confused."
Yes, I totally agree with that.
All right, honey. Our time's up. Thank you so much. You're just absolutely awesome. We'll be back again and we'll talk about anointing and the oils and the sacredness and pleasure, extreme loving pleasure that comes out of those. So thank you so much. Please stay with me. I'm going to stop the recording because I want to make sure I do this correct. So aloha, everyone, and stay tuned for our next podcast on, I'm calling it the Seed to Soul series. And we'll talk about that a little more later. But, you know, we are in this seed that has blossomed into a body that is inhabited by a soul. And so we're learning how to merge those two together. Yeah, and live a great life. So aloha.